Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the MylesHighClubPodcast. I'm your host, Miles. This is episode number 44, 6 away from 50. At one point, even though I kept saying to myself, I'm not going to give up no matter what, I am surprised I have made it this far to get to 50. But the party doesn't stop at 50. We're just going to keep going until at some point I'm like, right, Miles, as much as these 6 people listening to your podcast might be interested, just doesn't quite seem worth your time. Like, you expect a bit of growth, just a slight bit of growth, but you know, this podcast is not for everyone. But I hope everyone that is watching this is doing well. Peace and love to you all. I'm saying that because I want to start with peace and love, but the first thing I'm going to talk about isn't. I don't know how peaceful or loving it is. Now, I don't think I'm not that up to date with this. I think this happened before the last podcast, but I didn't touch on it. But it seems like DaBaby is in the trouble with the companies, the sponsors, the gays, the LGBT. He's in trouble with a lot of people, it seems. So if anyone doesn't know, the DaBaby, not last weekend, the weekend before when I'm recording this, he was performing at, I want to say, Rolling Loud Festival. He was on stage and he did what rappers tend to do, which was a call to action. Now, if you don't know what a call to action is, that's usually like, if you got what I'm trying to think of the Fat Man Scoop. You know the Fat Man Scoop? If you got a $10 bill, put your hand up. Basically that. If you got $10, put your hands up. If you got long hair, put your hands up. If you got short hair, make noise. That's a call to action. If you came here to have fun, let me hear you scream. That's a call to action. So there's 2 things that got DaBaby in trouble, but I think only one of them is taking precedence. So on stage, I'm going to read this verbatim. So on stage, he said, if you didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 1 or 2, 3 weeks, put your cell phone light in the air. Ladies, if your pussy smells like water, put your cell phone light in the air. Fellas, if you ain't sucked a nigga's dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone lights in the air. Keep it fucking real. If you didn't pick up the problematic things that he said, and again, it depends how problematic or how deep this affected you. So for me, we'll break it down bit by bit. The first one, if you didn't show up with HIV, AIDS, any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2, 3 weeks, put your cell phone light in the air. Me personally, I didn't see that as him being homophobic. I can see why people did, especially if you take the whole thing in context. But if you just take that line by itself, I didn't see it as homophobic. It's stupid because I'm sure by now everyone knows AIDS and HIV isn't going to kill you in 2, 3 weeks. Him saying HIV and AIDS is going to kill you in 2 weeks is like someone white like a white singer getting on stage saying, if you ain't African and your people didn't start AIDS, put your cell phone light in the air. You can't stereotype about people dying from AIDS in 2, 3 weeks when there's a stereotype that African people started AIDS. Again, you might be thinking, Miles, they are 2 completely different scenarios. Heck, it's how people are acting like that's what he said. But again, a lot of people have come out about that. Again, Magic Johnson, probably the most famous person diagnosed with HIV back in the 90s, and he is still alive and kicking today. Plenty of people grow up, live a long life with HIV or AIDS. I'm sure HIV is a type of AIDS, but for this, or any of them deadly diseases that make you die in 2, 3 weeks, put your cell phone light in the air. What about, again, random scenario, but devil's advocate, what about if I had HIV or AIDS and I was upset about that and I was like, oh, there's a concert, I'm gonna go there and have fun and cheer myself up. Not saying that people with HIV or AIDS would be upset. I'm just painting a scenario here. And what about if they turned up to the concert to have fun and now you're telling them they can't put their cell phone lighter in the air because they have HIV or AIDS? And another thing, in saying that, it makes you make it sound like whoever has that got it on purpose. Like they went out to deliberately get HIV or AIDS, or it's their fault for them getting it, which, again, let's not make this too deep, even though it's a topic that should be talked about. It's been spoken about by a lot of people. Next, he says, ladies, if your pussy smell like water, put your cell phone light in the air. I'm not an expert on vagina smells. I have smelt a few in my time. I can't say any of them have smelled like water. That goes for the good ones and the bad ones. Like either side of the Richter scale, neither of them smelt like water. I don't know if they're supposed to smell like water. Also, what does water smell like? And if you can smell water, is that a good sign? So many questions about that. It wasn't offensive. Again, I don't know why you'd want to do that. Just, ladies, if you got good pussy, put your hands in the air. That would have sufficed. And then finally, fellas, if you ain't sucking a dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone lights in the air. My question is, the thing is here, he says fellas at the start, so he specifically says fellas. Now, he doesn't say fellas if you didn't suck a nigga dick, put yourself, he said in the parking lot. So I'm assuming by the baby standards, if you suck someone's dick in the stadium, in the toilets, back at the hotel, on the plane, in the car on the way to the car park, in the back of Uber, put your cell phone light in the air. But if you specifically waited until you were in that car park, he can't agree with you. And that was that. So that happened. And as you can imagine, outrage kicked off. Now, I don't know if... Okay, I was going to say, I don't know if I can find his whole thing. But he said, he told critics to shut the fuck up. The rapper said, what I do at a live show is for the audience at the live show. It'll never translate correctly to somebody looking at a little 5-6 second clip from their goddamn crib on their phone. It just don't work like that. Because regardless of what you motherfuckers are talking about and how the internet twisted my motherfucking words, me and all my fans at the show, the gay ones and the straight ones, we turned the fuck up. It's ignorance and lack of education. Because he then, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find, I'm not going to search for it. He then, I'm trying to find what he was, I'm trying to find out what he was saying, but here we go. He literally went on to say later on, because he's done like 3 apologies. The first one, he didn't apologize to anyone. He was literally like, yo, I said what I said. There's gay people at my show. They were turning up. We were all turning up. All the gay people at my show didn't have a problem with it. That was his answer. He then went on to say things like, all the lights went up, gay or straight. You want to know why? Because even my gay fans don't got fucking AIDS. They don't got AIDS. My gay fans, they take care of themselves. They ain't going for that. They ain't no nasty gay niggas. They ain't no junkies on the street. I said, if you're sucking dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone light up. You know what my gay fans did? Put the motherfucking light up. My gay fans that ain't going for that, they got class. They ain't sucking no dick in the parking lot. You got to get a room, a good one, 5-star hotel. Even my gay fans got standards. Now, the second bit of that, no, but he says, my gay fans don't got fucking AIDS. They don't got AIDS. My gay fans, they take care of themselves. They ain't going for that. They ain't no nasty gay niggas. They ain't no junkies on the street. So, to me, that implies he's saying if you've got AIDS, you're a nasty gay nigger or you're a junkie on the street. Or you're a junkie on the street, which again isn't true. And it's another dangerous stereotype that 1, only gay people have AIDS and spread AIDS. But 2, it's there's quote unquote, I have to say that because I forget people listen to the audio, quote unquote, it's the nasty gays. And again, first of all, I don't know what he means by a nasty gay. Second of all, this is what I mean by ignorance and education. Surely he can't think it's only junkies and whatever he assumes to be a nasty gay nigga that are getting AIDS. Like, your everyday gay or straight person can't contract AIDS from this. It is high within the gay community. Again, I'm sure there's a conspiracy about an agenda the government had with AIDS, trying to kill off gay and black people and brown people. But there are so many conspiracies about all the different ways the government have tried to kill off different minorities. We will save that for another podcast. When? I don't know. But back to the baby. So he came out, this was him, his words. He said this to the camera, thinking this was some sort of apology. Again, that didn't fly. So I think even more, he got rushed basically. He got online jumped because even more shit came back on him for saying that. He did then put out a post where he was apologizing for he basically said, I apologize for, I'm paraphrasing here. This is not me repeating. This is not a quote. But he basically said, I'm sorry if I offended anyone with HIV. I didn't realise, I didn't mean to say that. But as for the LGBT, you lot do you. Your business is your business. He didn't apologise to them. He just said that. I'm sure he then came out with a second apology after that. He got dropped by, I think Coachella dropped him, Lollapalooza dropped him. All these festivals are dropping him. The sponsorships are backing out from him. Here we go. So it comes as 2 or more US music festivals have taken them off their lineup. In the latest post, he said, social media moves so fast that people want to demolish you before you even have the opportunity to grow, educate, and learn from your mistakes. The issue is, when you posted all these different apology videos, you didn't look like you were trying to grow, educate, or learn from your mistakes. You were doubling down, and then you triple down. Okay? If you say something bad, you should be like, you know what? Let me go and find out. Sorry, I've literally just looked over here to read the TV, and I can see a spider. Literally, it's just strung from its web, climbing all the way down. I'm going to have to deal with this when I set it on fire. I realise I realise this is recorded. I didn't really set him on fire. That was a joke. So he didn't look like he was trying to grow and learn from his mistakes. As a man who has had to make his own way from the very difficult circumstances, having people I know publicly working against me, knowing that what I needed was education on these topics and guidance has been challenging. I appreciate the many people who came to me with kindness, who reached out to me privately to offer wisdom, education, and resources. That's what I needed, and it was received. I want to apologise to the LGBTQ plus community for the hurtful and triggering comments I made. Again, I apologise for my misinformed comments about HIV and AIDS, and I know education on this is important. Love to all. God bless. Now, I don't want to put the words in people's mouths. However, this is what it seems to me like. He got up on stage, was trying to be funny or whatever. That shit backfired. He tried to double down on that by saying, yo, my fans are gay. I've got gay fans, they ain't nasty. And then proving more his either ignorance or lack of education, dug himself a hole. So he apologized for saying the HIV thing, but tripled down on the LGBT people. Do what you got to do. He then made another apology, which I'm sure is the one. No, he made one more, which I can't find. And then he made another apology after that. After he was getting dropped by all these sponsors. And he did again, I don't know what the goings on of what's happening in the background. And I can't say I don't like doing it because I have done it in the past. But in this situation, all of this was a white artist and they said this. Would the same thing be happening? First of all, yes. Okay, no one gets away with talking about gay people unless you are gay. We have seen it plenty of times of people making homophobic comments and people are at them like that. Now, DaBaby, you just happen to be one of the biggest rappers in the world right now, so it's going to draw a lot of attention. Sorry, but it's true. It then seems he put out another video as well talking about all these people that want to profit off a black man and profit off of black culture, but then want to turn their back and run the first thing. Fuck you, I don't need you. Basically, there was a lot of people either pressuring him to apologise or they were just dropping out. He felt some type of way. I think he tried to, I don't think he fully uses his black card, but he definitely flashes his race card. Like, he definitely flashes the race card. Like, he pulls open his jacket and lifts it up slightly to say, you know what, I'm not saying it's a race thing, but it's like the card's right here. I think he might have given it a quick flash to show people like, the race card's here. But no, I don't think this was a black thing. It probably didn't help, depending on who the people were, but there's black concerts and black people that have apparently wanted to stop working with him from all this. And I think it must have got too much. It must have been affecting DaBaby's bag. Or the label got onto him and were like, yo, you need to shut the fuck up and say this. I think Chris Brown, I want to find Chris Brown's post. Chris Brown basically said, get on stage, perform your music, shut the fuck up, get off stage. He didn't tag DaBaby, but he was just saying that just get on the stage, do what you got to do, shut the fuck up and leave the stage. You don't need to be on there doing all this extra shit. Again, for For what? The HIV and AIDS thing? That's so random as well. And again, a lot of people are saying his 90s era homophobia. These are the kind of things that got started and spreaded in, not AIDS, that was the 80s, but these rumors are the things that got spread, again, 20, 30 years ago. Oh, if you get AIDS, you'll die straight away. You get AIDS, you're going to die in 2-3 weeks' time. And again, he tried to say, I was just talking about people sucking. He literally said fellas. So he made a point to say fellas. Now, why he felt the need to say fellas, why he felt the need to talk about sucking dick in a parking lot, he might have seen something, he might have heard, so I don't know. But to pull that one out of the bag is just, it was random. So, DaBaby, we hope you learned a lesson from the mistakes that you made. I'm gonna stop. I hope you learned a lesson from the mistakes that you made. And everyone else out there, just shh. If you want to say something you think is going to be funny, tell a bunch of people around you first. And if they're like, or if anyone winces, or just say it to yourself, just think it and think, could this be taken wrong? No? Okay, I'm going to let it fly. Or if you're ignorant, or if you lack the education, just say, I don't think there was anything wrong. Clearly the way everyone's reacting, there's something wrong. Let me go do some research. Then do your research, and if you want to double down after you've done research and you can back it, that's on you. If you do your research and realise you were in the wrong, I'm sorry. I said it because of this. I didn't realise this. Never say it again. Moving on. And that was DaBaby. This ain't a music podcast, but these things happen, and I've seen it everywhere. So off DaBaby onto the lockdown or the COVID. I don't think we're not in a lockdown anymore, so I don't know what this. Things still don't feel 100% normal. I don't know what this current era we living in is called. Is this the bubble? Are we just post lockdown? I think are we still within the range to call this just post lockdown? I don't think I can say it's normality yet. But talking of lockdown, I'm staying away from masks and passports and vax. You know my stance on it. I'm not getting vaxxed. I don't plan on getting vaxxed. Fuck your passports. I'll just stay in England and travel England. We've got some nice beaches apparently, and we've got the Peak District and Lake District. Yeah, man, I'll just take the family there for the next few years until all this shit blows over and things are really, really back to normal. I'm not anti-vax. You want to get your vax, get your vax. I'm just saying I'm not getting the vax. But something popped up on my phone, a little news article popped on my phone saying 1 in 5 companies are planning to make staff redundant as furlough tapers off. Which, 1 in 5 to me sounded like a lot. So again, in July, employers had to pick up 10% of their employees' salaries while government support dropped from 80% to 70%. So anyone that doesn't know, the lockdown happened. The government basically said, to people, right, make all your guys go on furlough. So no work because you can't work. We will pay 80% of their wage up to a certain limit. It's up to you whether you want to then top the 20% up or not. I didn't go on furlough, so I couldn't tell you what happened in my company. So then in July this year, it dropped from 80% to 70%, and the government told employers, you've got to pick up that at least 10% to bring it to that 80% while this is going on. And then starting on Sunday, which this came out today, so starting on this Sunday, which is the 8th, I believe, this will be reduced further to 60%, with employees having to pick up 20% of the furlough pay in August and September. The British Chamber of Commerce is warning that the latest reduction in furlough aid will lead to thousands of job losses and is calling on ministers to ensure those impacted can retain. Official data shows that 1.9 million was still furloughed by the end of June, a reduction from 2.4 million a month earlier. Some people have been on they've been on furlough for that long. Wow. But of the 250 businesses with employees still on furlough, 18% told the Chamber they were likely to make staff redundant in response to being asked to contribute up to 20% of their furloughed staff's wages. Listen, some companies, I get it. A lot of companies have got online, so they were still moving and still being able to make money. This is why I'm not high up in the business world, because I don't think I'm as cutthroat enough to make these kind of decisions like that. This is where there's two sides of the table. You've got the business side, which is, all our shops have been down. We haven't been making as much money as we would like to make. The government's been covering off your wages. We've still been having to pay bills here and there. The government's been paying up to your wages. We've gone up to 10%. They've probably seen how it is at 10%, thinking, when it drops to 20%, we're still going to have to pay 20%. And this is only to people that are furloughed, to people that have gone back to work. You'd probably be fine. So I still didn't realize there are that many people that are still technically furloughed and not currently working 18 months or however many months after the fucking thing started. So I think I feel bad for you guys. I'm getting sidetracked. This is the catch-22, and I'll just be honest and keep it 1,000 with you. Someone that I haven't stopped working since this lockdown has gone on. I'm going to say half. I don't know what the actual percentage will be, but half of me is like, you lucky fuckers have had 18 months off work whilst being paid, and you've had the nerve to complain through this lockdown. That's just half of me. It sounds ignorant. I know. Again, different people go through different things. I know, but you need to imagine I'm still at work. I'm still working. I'm working from home. So nothing stopped for me. In fact, work got busier, which still confuses me to this day. So half of me was like, I was going to swear then. You lucky people being furloughed for 18 months and still being paid a wage for it while I'm at work. And then the other half of me is like, 18 months with nothing to do. That's a long time with nothing to do. But then the other half of me is like, nothing to do. Gym. You could learn to cook. You could learn to bake. You could start your own business. You could start a podcast. There is so much that you could have done with 18 months off work to set yourself up. And again, the other half of me is like, yeah, but it's finding the motivation. So it's 50-50. So those people that are on furlough, if you're on furlough still, drop a comment and let me know how you've got on in furlough. I'm trying to find the other stat that was got in there. But yeah, the furlough scheme has seen staff whose jobs have been put on hold during the coronavirus pandemic guaranteed 8% of their salaries to a limit from the government. So a survey of businesses found that 1 in 5 firms plan on letting staff go in response to Sunday's furlough policy change, which will see employees asked to contribute 20% towards the salary so those wages currently be subsidized by the state. So yeah, the business side of it, I understand. They're not used to paying this. Some businesses like Wetherspoon, didn't Wetherspoon like sack a bunch of people when lockdown first went in before this furlough thing was announced? Because Wetherspoon was like, I'm not paying you to not be at work. I can imagine that's it. Some of these businesses are probably just skating through the red or just about making a profit. So something like having to pay however many staff they've got 20% of their salary, considering their staff not coming in, doing any work and bringing any return on investment. It's hard, but at the same time, you're a business. You've been running. Most businesses, I assume, have been running through the pandemic. Everyone and everything's been affected, unless you Just Eat, which just boomed your whole business. Uber Eats and delivery, that just boomed your whole food delivery service up. And I think like DPD and delivery, whatever. I imagine those sort of people benefited, but other companies, all your shops have shut. Most of your contact centers were shut. Warehouses, depending on what lockdown we were in, factories, they were all shut. It was a thing. But you've all been shut. You've been stacking your money. The government's been paying 8%. You're only being asked to pay 20%, and you want to fire me. Just open the store. Don't make us redundant. I'll come back into work. That's what I'm telling you. I am coming. Open the shop. Okay? I'm sure I can find enough people to run the shop that would rather go to work and run the shop than be made redundant. Open this shop back up. You are not, I was going to say redundant to me. You're not making me redundant, no. Open the shop back up. But we'll move off COVID. Let's move off COVID. Hopefully we can leave it in our rear view soon. And then in a few years' time, we'll probably be watching a documentary on it. Like, oh my gosh, do you remember that? And the documentary is going to make it sound either a lot worse than what it was, or you know how documentaries are. We watch documentaries about shit we have no idea how it went down in real life, so we get caught up in it. We'll watch this COVID thing. And they'll probably be like, different countries will have their own version of how COVID affected them and how they thought they handled it. We'll probably have a documentary that makes Boris Johnson look like Superman and Matt Hancock look like... What would would he be Lex Luthor? I haven't heard much about Matt Hancock since that literally blew up for a week and then died down, and now he's back off into the wherever he is with his new missus, or was that just a lie? Who knows? No one followed up the story. It was a nice distraction. I shouldn't say that because I sound like a conspiracy theorist when I say it was a nice distraction, because I don't know what they were distracting us from, but it just seemed just very handy. And now then he stepped down and someone else has stepped in, and yeah, whatever. Let's talk about the Olympics. Has everyone been watching it? I've watched more Olympics on YouTube than I actually have been able to watch on BBC. I just have to keep YouTubing certain events and then watching them. I've caught a few events live, but that was it. The first story I wanted to share, only because it's just such a nice, it's a short story, but it's such a nice story considering these people train for at least 4 years. Like, as soon as the one Olympics is done, you're now training for 4 years for the next Olympics. So some of these people have been training all their life for the Olympics. One, just to get there and just to compete and be classed as an Olympian. Even better if you get a medal. Even better if you get gold. And 2 high jumpers asked to share an Olympic gold, and officials said yes. So, oh, Jesus, these names. Someone from Qatar and someone from Italy both successfully jumped 2.3 meters in the high jump final on Sunday, but then they both failed to clear the 2.39 mark, prompting conversations about a potential jump off. I've seen the video of this. An official actually walks up to them, has got them two there, and he's talking about a jump off. You can literally hear him say jump off. And one of the athletes, is it the Qatar? I think it's the guy from Qatar. I don't know whose idea it is, but it looks like it's the guy from Qatar who says to the Olympic, like, can we share the medals? He's like, what? He's like, can we share the gold? And they both look at each other and they're like, yeah, we'll share the gold. Like, can we share the gold? He must have radioed into someone, and they must have just said, you know what? Yeah, let them share the gold. And they both jump up, hug each other for like 3 seconds. But remember, you can't hug in the Olympics because of COVID. They jump up and hug each other, and then they both get so emotional. They're screaming and they're on the floor. It was just such a nice, because they've trained so hard. And you can imagine they pushed their bodies to the limits, and they were talking about a jump off. And instead of having to go for a jump off, they were both like, you know what? We've both pushed ourselves to the limit. Let's both accept the gold. They said yes, and I think it was the first time since I've got 1912. I don't know where I got 1912 from. I feel like I saw it somewhere. But the first time since 1912 that someone has shared, I think it was either a medal or shared a gold medal. So I thought it was a nice little story, considering all the other stories that have, not all of them, but there's a lot of big stories coming out at the Olympics that aren't necessarily as good. Another piece of good news, someone else from Italy. Italy's Lamont Marcel Jacobs won the men's 100 meters gold at Tokyo Olympics on Sunday with a time of 9.80 seconds. One, it was a shock win, because who knew Italians were fast like that? So well done, Italians. I was gutted for 2 reasons. So when it comes to the athletics part of the Olympics, I'm Team Jamaica. I don't want to hear any questions. Team Jamaica first, then Team GB if Team Jamaica aren't competing in that event. No Jamaicans, not one Jamaican man qualified for the final, which I was like, this is like the first time someone from Jamaica hasn't qualified from the finals from at least 2004. And there was not one person in the final there to represent Jamaica. And then the one person that was there to represent Team GB, Zarnell Hughes, was disqualified for a false start. Now, I forgot this happened. It was either Rio or the one before that. But originally, I'm sure I remember originally in the Olympics, or whenever you did the men's 100 meters, or whenever you did the running, if you got a full start, you got shown a yellow or a red flag. You got one. If you were then to full start again, you'd be disqualified. So you got 2 chances. Now it's 1 chance and you're done. So unfortunately for Zarnell Hughes, I watched the video. No idea what made him run. I guess it's just the nerves of waiting for that gun. But he literally marks, set, and then he's gone like half a second before the gun goes off. I don't know if he was anticipating. My 2 things I've got is he was either studying the person pulling the gun throughout the games and thought he could anticipate when the gun's going to go off. So he thought, if I go now and then the gun goes off, it might blend in, gives me a fantastic head start. Or it was just nerves. But well done to Italy's Marcel Jacobs. And again, this marks the first time since 2004 that the title goes to a man other than retired Usain Bolt, who maintains the world record of 9.58 seconds, which we all know Usain Bolt's fast, okay? He's got the world record in the 100 meters, possibly the 200 meters. He's got the world record for the men's 100. Well, him and Jamaica got the record for the men's 100 meter relay. And talking of records, just when, we were disappointed. We weren't let down. We were disappointed. Not disappointed. I'd say we were disheartened, but there's still love there for the men that weren't able to make it to the finals. But a few days before then, oh, praise our Jamaican queens. Jamaica got the sweep in the women's 100 meter race. And when I say the sweep, Jamaica got 1, 2, 3. Jamaica got gold, silver, bronze. First, second, third. Now, I was sleeping on Elaine because for the past 2-3 Olympics, definitely the past 2 Olympics, it's always been about Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. She's been the fastest woman in the world for so long. She won gold at the last 2 Olympics for the 100 meters or 200 meters. The women's relay, listen, Shelly-Ann was my pick coming into this. We get to the final. There are 3 women from Jamaica in the final. And boom, Jamaica tore across the stage with Elaine Thompson-Herah becoming the fastest woman in the world, and she set a new Olympic record of 10.61, making her the second fastest woman ever in history. That is a title to take. Shelly-Ann Fraser picked up silver, and Shericka Jackson won bronze to complete the sweep. Jamaica was happy. Twitter, all the memes on Twitter, there were all kind of memes on Twitter. Bless Sha'Carri Richardson. I hope she's okay. Sha'Carri Johnson? One of them. Sha'Carri, the American who I spoke about. There's a fly. The American sprinter I spoke about the other week that got banned from the Olympics for smoking or for testing positive for something in a system that's in weed. Basically, she got banned for smoking weed. That's a long story short. Again, there was memes like her fastest time this year was 10.72, and they were like, even if she had ran her fastest time this year, she wouldn't even have come third. I don't think, because that's how fast these Jamaican women were running. People that were like, the Jamaicans are going to get smoked. The Jamaicans aren't going to win this year. Oh, there was memes. Little but we talawa. That's what the Jamaicans are telling you. We are little but we talawa. I was so happy for them. 1, 2, 3. I literally just watched it and boom, off. And I was like, oh, it's Shelly-Ann. And then I seen Elaine pulling off. And then Shelly-Ann was pulling off from the rest. And then Shericka Jackson was pulling off. And I was like, boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3. You can't be mad. The commentators are talking about people not really being best friends. I think Shelly-Ann is the fastest woman in the world. She wanted to become the first woman in history to win gold at 3 back-to-back Olympics. But she got beat by Elaine Thompson there, who then broke history because she did a double-double in the 200 meters. Both, again, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and Elaine were both in the final of the 200 meters with, I believe, Elaine came first again. So she got gold in the 100 and the 200, becoming, and they said double-double. So she's the first woman to get gold in the 100 and the 200 in back-to-back events. So whatever the last big athletic event was, I believe, because it wasn't last Olympics, because that was Shelly-Ann. But they said she made history by doing that. So she got the gold in the 100, she got the gold in the 200. I believe Shelly-Ann got the bronze in the 200. She just got pipped. Yeah, she got the bronze in the 200. I think she just got pipped by one of them. But Jamaica, the Jamaican sweep. 1, 2, 3. I was so happy. I can't wait for the relay. I don't think I've missed the relay. If I have, I'm going to be really upset. But the relay is normally one of the last things you see at the Olympics. So proud of Jamaica. I wish I could go over there and celebrate with them all. But so proud of the women. The women pulled through for Jamaica, and there was nothing but love. And again, it's because it's Jamaica. There's nothing but love. I went on Twitter after the women won. Nothing but love. No one was trying to give any credit to men. This was all about the women, and it was all about the Jamaicans, Jamaican women in particular. 1, 2, 3. Happiest day I can imagine for Jamaicans all over. I was very happy when I saw it. And then you've got The 200 meters, they got bronze. No, they got gold and bronze in that. Now, I was looking this up before to see what medals they've got. Jamaica already get medals in the athletics because the Jamaicans only compete in the athletics, it seems. But I'm sure when I last checked, let me have a look. I'm going to type in Jamaica medals in the Olympics and it should come up. So Jamaica are currently 24th with 5 medals, all in athletics. 2 golds, which belong to Elaine. 1 silver, that belongs to Shelly Ann. And then 2 bronzes. 1 belongs to Shelly Ann. 1 belongs to Sharika. Again, 5 medals from 2 races. They should be higher than 24th. Let that sink in. Jamaica got 5 medals from 2 races. 1, 2, 3. Gold, silver, bronze in the 100 meters, and then gold and silver in the gold and bronze in the 200 meters. I mean, it's just, I don't know what to say. And then if I actually look at the whole table, Great Britain are currently in 6th place. Now, it must go on the amount of gold. I think it goes off the amount of golds, only because Great Britain are in 6th place with 43 medals. But Australia have got 33 medals and a 4th, and Japan have got 36 medals and they're 3rd. However, in terms of golds and who's leading the table, China are 1st with 32, then America are 2nd with 24, Japan are 3rd with 19, Australia are 4th with 14. ROC. Who's the ROC? Is that is that Russia's thing because Russia are banned from the Olympics? Yeah. I thought so. So if you don't, hold on. If you don't know, I'm sure it's either to do with doping or something at the last Olympics, but something basically happened with either doping or bribing that got Russia banned from the Olympics. So here we go, I'll read it here. ROC stands for Russian Olympic Committee, a delegation of Russian athletes who are competing in the Olympics, even though their country is under a 2-year ban due to doping violations. The ROC has to abide by several different rules set by the International Olympic Committee, so they remain neutral athletes. So there you go. So the ROC are currently 5th with, they should be joint 5th with us, but they've got 13 and we've got 13 gold medals. And again, I think most of ours have come in swimming. I don't think, I clicked on it before and it gave me a breakdown, but yeah, most of those have come in swimming for Great Britain. So it's a good Olympics. Again, I wish that we had the full coverage, but here's me moaning about my first world problems. Nothing more to say. Team Jamaica, rah! And finally, moving on to What on the Box, the weekly segment where I talk about what new TV shows, movies I have been watching the past week. 2 movie reviews coming up for you. It should have been 3, but I'll start with it. I still haven't seen Suicide Squad yet, so no spoilers from me. If you're don't spoil it in the comment, but just out of 5, right? I feel like if you rank things out of 10, there's too much. Just rank it out of 5. What would you give Suicide Squad if you've seen it? I haven't seen it. I've heard one review, which someone was saying was meh. But they're not into like the super. I don't think they're into the superhero movies like that. So again, Suicide Squad's one of those niche ones where I don't think it's going to be for everyone, but comic book fans and DC fans, I guess it will be for. So, I'm sorry, I've got an Airwick right behind my camera because it's right by the TV. It's just over there. And it points directly at me and it's just sprayed. And the mist has carried into my mouth. And I had to taste it. And my mouth went all dry and everything. Oh, dearie me. Jungle Cruise. If you're not watching this, I apologize, but I just got sprayed in the mouth. So, as you can imagine right now, I'm going through things. So, Jungle Cruise is the brand new Disney movie starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Emily Blunt. Is her name? Hold on. I'm sure her name's Emily. Yeah. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Frank, Emily Blunt as Lily Houghton, and Jack Whitehall as her brother McGregor Houghton. So, spoilers. It's a family film. It's an okay film. It was enjoyable. The Rock is The Rock. Emily Blunt is, I was going to say surprisingly, I'm only used to seeing Emily Blunt in like serious movies. So she's in Tomorrow. No, is it what's it? Live, Die, Repeat. The War of Tomorrow, something like that. It literally came out the other day, and there's two of them with the monsters, and they move in silence. Is it Quiet? Quiet Place. There we go. Quiet Place. One time, you've seen her in serious dramas or thrillers. This is far from it. This is a light-hearted family comedy, and she is great. Like, her character is great. The over-enthusiastic. Oh, what is she? She's. I don't know how to describe her profession, but it's set back in the day when whatever she does is frowned upon because she's a woman, and there's a whole thing about her wearing pants and women not really wearing pants. It's one of those movies, but it's a good movie. So it's basically about this woman, Emily Blunt, and her brother find a missing treasure piece, and they use this treasure piece to go find some flower that can grant you eternal life. She steals it from a bad guy. Again, this is the bad guy that's then going to chase them down for the rest of the film, trying to get it back. It ends up in a climatic final battle, as you can always assume from. It's one of those movies. It's one of those movies where the good guys need to go and find something. The bad guys also want to find the same good thing. The bad guys end up following the good guys all the way, and then end up getting the drop on them and beating them to the place, and then forcing one of them to set it up. You've seen it a million times in movies, but it is a good movie. There's a nice little twist. Spoilers. There's a nice little twist with The Rock's character, who turns out he's one of the cursed people who can't leave the river due to this curse. Or when you think he dies, it's The Rock, so obviously he's not dead. And it was a fun family film. I watched it on Disney Plus. Didn't go to the cinema. It's one of those ones where if you would say to me, Miles, do you think it's worth taking the kids to watch the Jungle Cruise? I'd say watch it on Disney Plus. I didn't think of it as much. It wasn't that much of a spectacle where I watched it and I was like, oh, I wish I'd gone to the cinema to watch that now. Like things like Endgame. I keep saying to my friends, like, can you imagine if COVID happened a year or two earlier? I can't imagine watching Endgame at home on Disney Plus. Can't imagine watching Infinity War at home on Disney Plus. A Quiet Place, I can't imagine. I could have watched A Quiet Place 2 at home on Amazon Prime, because I'm sure they've got it on there for sale. It would have been cheaper than buying 2 tickets and however much snacks would have cost when I went to the cinema. So again, I would say, yeah, it's a good, fun family movie. I wouldn't break your neck to go and watch it. If you've got nothing to watch, I'd say watch it. I'd also say watch it on Disney Plus. 3 out of 5. It's just a good movie. The other movie that I watched was Space Jam. Now, there's 2 ways of reviewing Space Jam. There's reviewing Space Jam 2 as a standalone movie, and then there's reviewing Space Jam as a sequel. I'll do it as a standalone movie first. So Space Jam: A New Legacy, as a standalone version of Space Jam, as its own film, it's a fun film. I feel like I'm saying that about all the films, but it's a fun film. What I did think was very clever is making LeBron spend majority of the movie animated, so it's not actually him; it's just him doing a voiceover. Because I don't think LeBron James can act. It kept taking me out of the movie during certain parts. I was just like, LeBron can't act. Even when I go back and watch the original Space, no, I'm not comparing it. It's a standalone movie. It's a standalone movie. I don't think LeBron can act. I don't think he's a very good voice actor either. Because sometimes I just got taken out of the movie and I was just like, I can hear you trying to act here, bless. Well, it's a good movie. The story, as a standalone movie, it's a generic story of the bad guys. I say generic, I don't know how many times this happened, but the bad guy tricks the good guy into doing something, and then they've got to battle or fight each other to win. It's probably what you'd expect from a basketball star being in a Looney Tunes movie. There you go. It's okay. Now, the real review, because this is what everyone's going to be doing, comparing it to the original Space Jam. Yo, this movie is pants. I'm sorry. If you like this movie, then good for you. I thought this movie was pants. Let's go through it. The story. So the story of the original Space Jam is the aliens come down, they're taking over Toon World, they agreed to have a basket game. I don't know why it's a basketball game, but again, they agreed to have a basketball game to settle their scores. So the Toons are like, shit, they've got these big monsters who snuck up to the real world and stole all the talent from these top 5 NBA players at the time. I don't know why I'm going through this story like you guys don't know what Space Jam is. But speeding up, they go and find the best basketball player alive. It's Michael Jordan. They bring Michael Jordan into their world. He trains them to play basketball. They have the match. The first game, they get smoked because they're by monsters. Second one, this is when Jordan realizes, look, we need to start playing by my tactics. We need to start playing by your guys' Looney Tunes tactics. They fight back. It becomes they claw their way back so it's even. The bad guys then start fighting back. It comes down to the last basket. And it's the iconic scene of all the monsters jumping and grabbing onto Jordan and Jordan's arms stretching because he's in the Toon world and dunking. Bill Murray's in it randomly. It's just great. The cast is amazing of the original Space Jam. The cast is great. The story is perfectly fine. The acting is perfectly fine by all of them. This one, the story doesn't make sense. So there's an AI in the Warner Brothers universe. He basically takes over a company. How, I don't know, because he's an AI. So the humans don't realize it's an evil AI. They just think the robots are coming up with all these cool ideas. This AI is coming up with all these really cool ideas. LeBron James turns him down. So he gets angry and is like, turn down my idea. Kidnaps his son, uses his son's basketball game. No, kidnaps his son, then kidnaps LeBron and says to LeBron, I will play you a basketball. If you win, you get your son back. If I win, you've got to stay here forever. It doesn't make sense. He could have literally just pulled LeBron in and then kept LeBron there forever. There's no reason for LeBron to agree to play to that. I mean, there's no reason for him to give LeBron that offer. It's not like LeBron can just snap his fingers and leave. Like, he used his son's technology to get him in there, and but whatever. His son builds this basketball game, which the whole point of the story at the start is James is trying to drill into his son. It's all about the fundamentals, but his son just wants to have fun and play basketball his own way and creates a game that LeBron James doesn't understand because it's not real life traditional basketball. That plays into the main story of it. The original Space Jam, I thought, included the superstars in a cool way. Like, it didn't focus on them because the main focus of this is on Jordan and the Looney Tunes. So they go up, you see them steal from the best basketball players. You see Jordan go back to them at the end, give them their talent back, play a game. Fantastic. In this one, the main characters of the monsters, the bad guys, are all souped up versions of, again, 5 of the hottest NBA and WNBA stars out there right now. He then soups them up using his app. The Looney Tunes turn up. The first half, they get battered like in the original because James is trying to play by his rules. Second half, they play by Looney Tunes rules and pull it back. They try and do the whole, oh my God, is he going to make it at the end? But there was just something missing from it. James goes up for a dunk. The bad guy played by Don Cheadle jumps up and grabs him. As he's falling down, his son runs up and picks up this power up and throws the power up. That just... Again, my issues with this is, one, James is acting. Good thing they made him animated for the majority of the movie because he can't act. I can't act, so I'm not saying it as a bad thing. I'm just saying I don't think LeBron James can act. Even when it goes to the animated bits, he can't act. It takes me out. The story's just there. They reference the original Space Jam, I think, once or twice. There's a scene where they say, oh, it's Michael Jordan, and Michael B. Jordan walks in. They're like, this isn't Michael Jordan, this is Michael B. Jordan. He was like, oh, it was 20-something years ago. I thought he was aging gracefully. Whatever. It was... The story didn't really get me. The game in Space Jam, the original Space Jam, was amazing. It was just basketball. It was back to front, but they threw all the Looney Tune things in there. It was great. That's all we needed. In this one, there's power-ups and you get... I'm like James. There's power-ups and style points and all this. And I'm just like, it would have been better if it was just a normal game of basketball. And then he then starts having fun when the Looney Tunes make it loony, and then his son kind of tweaks the game and makes it like a Looney Tunes sort of basketball thing, and then James can understand because he was having fun in the second half compared to the first half. I'm not in charge of the story, but yeah, the acting from James is bad. The story I personally thought was bad. Don Cheadle's great in it. The person that plays LeBron James is Kid. He's all right, I guess. It's just, I'm looking at it now. IMDb gives it 4.4 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes 27%. Metacritic 37%. Then apparently 71% of Google users liked this film. Yeah, like I said, it was okay. I'm glad I didn't. All I'm gonna say is I'm glad I didn't go to the cinema to see it. No, I'll leave it there because I don't know who is listening to this. And just before I leave, and you guys are sat there thinking, "Oh my God, Miles, you haven't spoke about Marvel this week." Venom, it's kind of Marvel. It's Sony, but it's also Marvel, I believe. It's a Marvel character. A new trailer has dropped for Venom, Let There Be Carnage. It shows a lot more Carnage being Carnage. We find out how Carnage happens as well, because in the first Venom, there is not a Carnage, and there's only 4 symbiotes. They capture 3 of them. One of them's Venom, the other one's the other bad guy. I can't remember what happened to the 2. I'm sure they escaped or something. But when Brock goes to talk to Carnage, or the guy that plays Carnage, he's at the bars. He snaps, runs at him and bites him. As he bites him, he obviously then swallows some of the Venom symbiote. Then when he gets electrocuted, that might awaken something in his twisted, crazy, deranged, mad head of his that fuses with the Venom symbiote to make Carnage. And then we get Carnage, a bloodthirsty killer bent on chaos and carnage. It looks like it's going to be a good film. Woody Harrelson looks good in it. Eddie Brock, played by Tom Hardy, still. I can't wait for this. I don't know if there was a date. I didn't pay attention to see when there was a date coming out. But this looks really good. I hope they're not going to do what they did in the first film though, which was put less effort into the CGI by making everything really dark. Because that end fight scene in Venom, it's so hard to see what's going on because it's just dark and it's just black things just crashing off each other and blending into one, and the 2 people are fighting inside the symbiote. And this trailer has been a lot of dark shots when you see either Venom or Carnage. So fingers crossed, Sony, it's 2021. You've upped your CGI game. But that brings us to the end of another episode of the Miles High Club podcast. I hope you've enjoyed. You know what I'm going to say. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all the things I need you to do so I can beat these algorithms. I've been Miles. This has been the Miles High Club podcast. Until the next time, peace.